Imagine waking up one night to news that a massive explosion has rocked southern Iran near Shiraz, a site rumored to hold important military equipment. If this is true, the consequences could be enormous, because when military targets are involved, suspicion almost immediately points toward Israel or the United States, and Iran is likely to make that claim. What makes this situation even more tense is the timing. Iran is already on high alert, preparing for potential attacks, so an explosion now suggests either highly trained agents inside the country are still active or external forces struck precisely when Iran was most vulnerable. Either way, the situation is extremely dangerous. Adding to the uncertainty, a prominent Israeli journalist with deep connections in Israeli and American intelligence circles has suggested that a strike could be ordered at any moment, possibly just before dawn, a time often chosen for nighttime military operations. With Ramadan underway across many regions, the possibility of such an attack happening unexpectedly tonight, tomorrow, or in the coming days creates a high-stakes environment. The bigger worry is not just a single strike. Any attack could trigger rapid retaliation, alliances could come into play, and what starts as one incident could quickly escalate into a much wider conflict. This isn't just a routine military move. It could mark the beginning of a major confrontation, potentially affecting regional stability, global politics, and economic markets, all unfolding faster than most people can even imagine. The next 24 to 48 hours could reveal just how far this tension spreads, and the world might soon see the start of a conflict unlike anything seen before. The situation is escalating rapidly. Reports indicate that in the past 24 to 48 hours, dozens of military cargo flights from multiple countries, including the US, have been moving toward the region, carrying weapons, missiles, and equipment that could significantly change the balance of power. Fighter jets, including F-35s, F-22s, and F-16s, are reportedly in position, ready for action. Israel's aircraft might also join in, making the skies extremely tense. Every move in the air or on the ground could spark retaliation, and no single nation can claim full control of the outcome. Intelligence sources suggest that the main goal would be to disable strategic military systems and critical infrastructure, but the ripple effects would go far beyond one target. Civilian areas, regional trade routes, and global oil supplies could all be affected, pushing oil prices higher and creating economic uncertainty worldwide. The speed at which this could escalate is alarming. A single strike could set off a chain reaction, drawing multiple countries into months-long or even years-long conflict. At the same time, Iran is said to have fortified its defenses, including underground and mountainous installations, and is ready to respond to any threat. Countries like China and Russia are reportedly monitoring the situation closely, providing technology and intelligence support to prevent agents from causing internal damage. With every hour, the possibility grows that the conflict could explode beyond the region, impacting international relations, trade, and security across continents. What started as a local military incident could quickly become a far-reaching crisis, showing how fragile global stability is when tensions reach this level. The coming days may reveal whether diplomacy can intervene or if the world is about to witness a confrontation unlike any seen in recent memory. On the ground, Iran is not sitting idle. Military drills and heightened alert measures are reportedly underway, and key locations, including the Strait of Hormuz, have seen temporary closures, creating both strategic and economic pressure. If conflict breaks out, Iran could respond with cyber attacks, targeting financial systems, infrastructure, and energy networks of multiple nations involved, further complicating the situation. The speed of escalation is what makes this scenario particularly dangerous. One strike could trigger another, and alliances could activate, dragging neighboring countries into the conflict. Analysts suggest that Iran's underground military facilities and dispersed equipment could prolong resistance, making any offensive operation complicated and costly for those involved. Meanwhile, intelligence networks from different countries are reportedly working overtime to track potential internal threats and prevent sabotage, but the risk remains high. Economic markets are already sensitive, with oil prices susceptible to sudden spikes and global trade routes potentially disrupted. The human and material stakes are enormous, and even nations not directly involved could face indirect consequences due to the interconnectedness of global politics. Observers emphasize that while one side may initiate an attack, the response could be widespread, creating a volatile and unpredictable environment where no single party can fully control the outcome. This is not a situation that will resolve quickly. The coming days may set the stage for a prolonged period of tension, strategic maneuvering, and high-stakes decisions that could impact not just the Middle East, but global stability and international relations for months to come. The window for diplomacy is narrow, and every action now could determine whether escalation is contained or if the region plunges into full-scale conflict. The stakes are not limited to military action alone. The political and strategic consequences are massive. Reports indicate that if a strike occurs, it could directly affect regional alliances, with countries like Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and others watching closely, trying to protect their interests while avoiding being pulled directly into conflict. Iran's leadership is reportedly coordinating with partners like China and Russia, using technology, intelligence, and satellite data to monitor threats and protect critical assets, while also preparing contingency plans for the supreme leader in case of emergency. The economic ripple effects are equally alarming. The potential closure of trade routes such as the Strait of Hormuz could disrupt oil exports globally, sending energy prices soaring and creating instability in markets far beyond the Middle East. On top of that, internal security in Iran is being heavily reinforced to prevent sabotage or infiltration, which suggests that any attack would face fierce resistance, prolonging conflict and increasing risks of collateral damage. Analysts warn that the speed and scale of escalation could be unprecedented, with multiple nations possibly engaging directly or indirectly. Cyber warfare, missile strikes, and tactical operations could unfold simultaneously, creating a scenario where it's nearly impossible to predict the immediate outcome. Even countries not directly involved could face indirect consequences, from trade disruptions to diplomatic pressure and regional instability. The situation remains fluid, and any single misstep could trigger a chain reaction, pulling more players into the conflict. The next few days are crucial. Each decision made by the nations involved could either contain the tension or ignite a larger confrontation, fundamentally changing the security landscape in the region and beyond. The uncertainty and scale of the potential conflict make it clear that this is more than a localized incident. The situation could escalate extremely fast because all sides are already on high alert. If an offensive begins, airstrikes, missile launches, and drone attacks might happen almost at the same time, making it very hard for any side to maintain control. Iran's underground and mountainous military facilities are built to survive heavy bombardment, so an initial strike might only partially succeed, leading to immediate counterattacks. Intelligence agencies from multiple countries are monitoring internal threats, but the risk of unexpected actions is high. Neighboring regions like Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, and Yemen could face indirect effects, while global trade and energy routes might be disrupted, sending oil prices higher and affecting markets worldwide. Cyber operations could target infrastructure, communications, and financial systems, amplifying the impact beyond the battlefield. Night operations, often used for surprise attacks, could intensify the situation suddenly, giving very little time for preparation or response. Even if the first strike is precise, reactions might be unpredictable, dragging more countries into conflict. The narrow window for diplomacy means decisions in the next hours could either prevent escalation or trigger a wider war. Analysts warn that the combination of military readiness, strategic defenses, and high-stakes geopolitical interests could determine not only regional stability but also global economic and political consequences. The coming days could reveal how far the conflict spreads, showing that no single nation can fully control the outcome and that every move will have far-reaching repercussions. As the tension builds, the potential for rapid escalation grows. Military analysts note that any initial strike could provoke immediate retaliation, making the conflict unpredictable. Iran's dispersed facilities, including underground bases and mountainous bunkers, are designed to survive and continue operations even under heavy attack, which could prolong the conflict and increase its intensity. Intelligence teams from multiple countries are reportedly tracking potential internal threats, but the risk of unexpected sabotage or miscalculations remains high. Neighboring nations could be drawn into the situation indirectly, as logistical movements, airspace usage, and regional alliances respond to any significant military action. The global economic impact could be immediate, with oil prices spiking if the Strait of Hormuz or other trade routes are affected, and markets could react strongly to disruptions in supply chains. Cyber operations are likely to play a major role, with attacks on financial systems, communication networks, and infrastructure potentially occurring simultaneously with physical strikes. Nighttime operations may be used to gain strategic advantage, allowing surprise actions while limiting immediate countermeasures. Even if the initial phase of the conflict is precise and controlled, the likelihood of escalation remains high, as defensive measures, retaliation, and alliances could trigger chain reactions across the region. The narrow window for diplomacy means that decisions in the coming hours will be crucial. Missteps could turn a localized strike into a broader confrontation. Analysts warn that the outcome will not only affect the immediate region but could influence international relations, global trade, and security dynamics for months ahead. Every action now carries far-reaching consequences, and no single country can control the unfolding scenario entirely, making the coming days critical for the future of regional and global stability. As the tension reaches its peak, it's clear that the next hours could define the future of the region and possibly reshape global dynamics. Every side is preparing, with military forces in position, underground bunkers fortified, and intelligence networks working around the clock. Any strike now could trigger rapid retaliation, drawing in neighboring countries and affecting trade routes, oil markets, and international relations. Cyber attacks could strike financial systems and infrastructure, multiplying the impact far beyond physical combat. The unpredictability of night operations, combined with dispersed defenses, means the first moves might only be the beginning, with counterattacks escalating the situation in unexpected ways. Diplomacy has a narrow window, and decisions made now will determine whether tensions are contained or spiral into full-scale conflict. Analysts warn that the consequences will be felt regionally and globally, and the coming days could mark one of the most critical periods in recent history. This is not a story unfolding far away. It could touch markets, politics, and security everywhere, and the world is watching closely. Stay alert, stay informed, and understand that every update could signal a new twist in this high-stakes situation. If you want to keep following these developments as they unfold, make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your engagement helps keep you updated in real time. Don't miss out, because the next phase could arrive when no one expects it, and the consequences could be massive. Stay tuned, stay aware, and watch how events unfold, because the world might change faster than we imagine.